Hello, I am Joseph with Versatile Hydroponics. Today we are going to do a quick setup of the 2 plant site UNDERTOW recirculating unit. This comes with everything you see here. If you have purchased a system and it doesn't have anything or is missing anything out of what you see here today, please contact myself or any of our other staff immediately and we will make sure that you get whatever you deserve. But as we've noticed that some customers as well as ourselves have thought we could improve on our instructional process, and in an attempt to alleviate these issues right away, we thought a video would be best. So let's go over what we have real quick. We've got 2 5-gallon reservoir plant sites, both of which have 2 3/4 inch grommets pre-installed for you, so you don't have to worry about taking care of any of that when you get the system. So they're pre-installed. You should have 2 holes, 2 3/4 inch grommets, 1 5.3 reservoir bucket. Now this should have a total of 4 different grommets. We've got the 1/2 inch for the water level indicator and drain, the 1/2 inch for the feed line, and then the 2 3/4 inch for the return lines. So let's just, we'll start there, I guess. We've got our water level indicator. Now this is going to go back here. It's the grommet that's closest to the base of the unit. Whereas you'll notice the feed line one is 4.5 inches from the base. So how I like to install this, as well as all of the barbed fittings, is I like to get lubricant, or if you don't have a food safe lubricant, I would recommend for sure at least warm water. 1 second, I'll grab that lubricant. Alright, so with that said, food safe, you don't want to use something that could be harmful to yourself, your plants, or anyone else that could come in contact. So something that you would not be afraid to put on your body or in your mouth, you should be good. So you're just going to need the tiniest of dabs, depending on, or if you're using a lubricant. And then you just go ahead and just brush that over this barbed elbow, and whatever remains on your finger, go ahead and just wipe that on the inside of that grommet or on the edges. Now once you've got that done, and if it's just warm water, let this sit in the warm water, take some warm water, rub it on the inside of there. But once you've got that done, you just go ahead, press that into the grommet. What you want to do is take your other arm, put it on the inside of the bucket, and use it as a brace. And once you've got some pressure there, just wiggle back and forth. You'll feel those barbs pop in, pop through. You don't need to go all the way. Just go, well, there's 3 barbs on that elbow. If you've got 2 in and the 3rd one just pressed in, but not all the way, that is more than fine. Sometimes too far could cause you more issues than not. And with that said, you just go ahead and spin that. That tubing will spin right on that barb fitting. Spin that so it's in the upward position, and then that handle will take care of that and hold that for you in place. Otherwise, what this will do now is when you fill the unit with water, whatever water level is in this tubing, say if it's right here, right here, right here, well, that's the amount of water that's in your reservoir, and the amount of water that's in your reservoir should be, with the pump running, roughly 1 to 2 inches lower than what is in your plant site buckets. And that's just all done via gravity. So we'll continue on, but then also, before I forget, Now once it's installed, say you're a week, 2 weeks into it, and you want to go ahead and change out your reservoir solution. Well, you can either buy additional tubing, or you can just get a drain or a plug or a bucket to empty into. Just spin that down. Whatever runs out of here, the buckets will with gravity will run back, emptying all of them through this with time. Otherwise, we'll get into the valving here in a little bit, but yes, you can separate all of them out with the valving. So we got that, we're good. Don't worry, yeah, it spins, but it's not going anywhere once, unless you're moving it with your own hand. So, we got that part installed. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next part that would be connected. Now you should have 2 of these, a left arm and a right arm. So, the difference between the left arm and the right arm, not much other than the positioning of the arms, the elbows within it. Now, both of them, they're going to be valve up, and they're both going to have their elbow, well, and in this case, they're both facing the same way. All you got to do is spin that elbow, and it's corrected. So we want one with the elbow facing to the left, one facing to the right. We'll go ahead and start with the left. Once again, we're going to take a little dab of this lubricant, just a dab, put it on there. I mean, you can't really overdo it, but you definitely don't need a whole lot on there. A little bit in that grommet, and once again, warm water will work for this without much troubles. Then once again, arm on the inside, hold the ring around the grommet, get that in there, and that slides right in, and you want at least one barb sticking out. And that's all there is to that. Now with the reservoir, depending on whether you've got, there's a couple different models of this for 2, 4. We have recently kind of just basically turned the reservoir in the way it's positioned, whether the long way to the left to the right, short way to the left to the right. It all sets up the same, all works the same. We just have decided to change that, so whether you received it one way or the other, that really is here or there. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do the same thing with the left arm, which I might have called that the left arm, I don't know, can't remember. But here we go, one more time. Bam, bam, and our return lines are halfway set up. Now, get some of this other stuff out of the way that we'll introduce here in a moment. It's not with the undertow, since there's not a top feed set up, hooked up to this. It don't matter whether you've got the label facing out, facing in. I, in my opinion, designed it with intentions of the label facing out, just to keep it standardized. But we go ahead and once again, dab a lube. And there we go. Once again, you kind of are probably getting the idea. It's a little repetitive. And I know right now you might not be able to see the overall view of it. We will look at that here shortly once we got it all together. And Dabaloob. Yes, that is correct. And then with the barbed fitting again, I know you can't see what I'm doing, but you should have a good grasp. Wiggle, leave a barb sticking out. If you can't get it to one barb, you're not gonna be overly, as long as you know that you've got an even seal, you're fine. We'll do a water test, or you'll do a water test, but we test everything prior to shipping as well to make sure that it's water sealed. Now, with those overview, I guess we'll just take a quick glance. And like I said, these are could be one of two models. Each arm has got a 3/4 inch ball valve that is pre-built with 1 foot pieces of 3/4 inch tubing. On both sides of it, a 3/4 inch elbow, 6 inch 3/4 inch piece that leads into a straight barb into the reservoir. We're just going to move that back here a little bit so we got a little more room. Alright, and before we go any further, we'll just quick introduce the lid. This is a hinged lid for this reservoir. It's got 2 grommets and another porthole. This port is for your power cord for your water pump. And these additional holes, is for your chiller, where you can have an inlet and outlet if you have a chiller. If you do not, well, you can get creative. That can be a straight shot for your air tubing if you opt out to have a air stone within the bucket. Otherwise, there's a couple different options. If you ever decide to add your own top feed system and you want it to run to the top and then out to the buckets, you can use those as inlets, or outlets. And with this, you go ahead and it should already come with, we've removed the one piece there. Well, it'll snap on fairly tight. And you'll feel it snap or hear it snap. And I don't even have one corner down, but this isn't going anywhere. The other end, you just pop it, and they are a little tight when they're new. So just a couple times and it'll loosen up on you, and you'll have no issues. My table's not going to be big enough. All right, so now let's go to the feed line. And the variations between the couple different kits. This one is the little bit more expensive unit that's got basically one additional valve. And this additional valve just helps completely separate each bucket from one another. And then that way you can completely, if you just unplug your pump and shut down every valve, well, you can separate and drain each one individually. Now with this one here, the other model I believe has a barbed fitting that goes into the reservoir first, and then it comes on out, splitting here to 2 1/2-inch valves before it uses the reducer going up to a 3/4 inch tubing on both sides. And this one will shut off to that way, feed, yada yada, you get the idea. And we're gonna go ahead and install the back end first. Guess what? Lube. just wiggle, shake. You just want to twist it lightly, wiggle it. Well, it's a good thing this is my unit because I'm throwing it around, but I think I even have enough lube on my hands from that last one to be able to get this one. Maybe not. See, it does make a big difference. No lube, no water. It definitely is much tougher. And there we go. All right. All right, so, and once again, we are starting to run out of room, so I'm going to rearrange this quick so you can actually see what I'm doing. So, and 1 second here, I need to grab a drink. All right, so now this is the last barb fitting unless you are installing the barbs for chiller or additional right here. Last time, I am gonna say it, lube, warm water. It'll make your life a lot easier. If it gives you a struggle, go ahead, soak it in there, get it nice and warm, get that grommet warmed up, and wiggle, a little bit of firm pressure, and it'll go for you. Now, right now, all of our lines are connected to their respective spots. And before we're done, I will go over it with a top view for you. Now, with that said, we've got our lids. Our lids are come with a built-in airline connector. We put those in there for you to make hopefully your life easier in the long run. Now, if they're connected already, great. If not, we might have not been able to fit it in there properly while packaging. If it's not, just go ahead. There should be a 14 and a half inch piece for each one. And you can just go ahead and slide that right on. It doesn't look like it is holding that well, but if you actually get it pressed on, which I didn't do, so make sure you get it pressed on there well. But once it's on there well, it does hold very, very well. I just was kind of a weakling to start with. All right, and we're gonna do that well, you get the idea. We're not gonna do it for the other one, but you would do that for both lids if needed. Now, at the other end, go ahead and connect your air stone to this. One moment, please.